What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. Okay, one of the big stories today was Deshaun Watson. I was watching the game. He goes to, plant his foot. You immediately see that little Achilles, boop, over, obvious, ripped Achilles, carted off the field. Now, I got about all the games going on at once, so I can only listen to volume on one game. So in the morning slate, I was basically going back between the Lions-Vikings game and the Packer-Houston game. Early on, I went a little Eagles-Giants, but as that game got away, I didn't listen to that game. So it was I just listened to two volumes because I can't listen to three volumes at once. I just listened to one volume. So I wasn't listening to anything. But I see him get carted out the field. The team comes up. Don't really think anything of it. As the day goes on, everything starts going viral about how they booed him off the field. Like, yeah, not surprising. Not surprising. And then all the comments come out. Jameis went on. Jameis, if you watch Jameis's 2-minute kind of like rant / soliloquy / diatribe, I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like he's putting on a skit or like acting, going to one of those reads to try to be an actor for a television show. That's what he feels like he's doing. He's really playing the character. But Myles Garrett, who was just being Myles Garrett in the press conference, was pretty pissed off. And he said a lot of things. And one of the comments that he had was that Deshaun has been a model citizen throughout his college career. And he used the words, not mine, most of his professional career. It's hard not to laugh when he said, and most of his professional career. I just think this because I think it's most players, and we'll see the media takes. There are going to be some that are crushing the fans because they love to. Now, I think opinions are going to be all over the map on this. But I know this. There is not another player in that game on the Browns or on the Bengals. Coaches, sideline people, the chain gang, any human that could have got a leg shattered, that could have popped an Achilles, that could have been knocked out, that if they would have gone off the field on a cart and given a thumbs up, from Jamar Chase to Joe Burrow to the Bengals, you name it, there's not another human that crowd, like any crowd, would have given a standing ovation to. But this fan base, they traded for this guy, and they gave a historic amount of money, and he was immediately suspended for 11 games for the massage therapist. I think the number's up to 28 total. So we immediately get this. I'm just putting myself in a Browns fan's shoes. We immediately get this quarterback who's been good for the Texans. Then he's immediately suspended. And our owner and our front office fudged the contract because we knew it was coming. We only paid him $1 million. 11 games. We've seen guys get in trouble. We've seen guys get, 3, 4, whatever. 11 games, which is kind of a weird number, but it's a lot. It's a fucking massive number. So all of a sudden, 11 games, all the stuff going off the field. So it's like, okay, every single person in that stadium thinks the guy's a scumbag. But listen, you watch sports, you root for teams long enough, you root for some scumbags. So it's like, hey, if you're good, whatever. Well, then this guy starts playing, and he's the opposite of good. He's atrocious. Statistically, he's legitimately one of the worst quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. This season he was. And I would say over the course of those couple games or 6 games when he came back, and then last year before he got injured, it couldn't have been going much worse. So it's like, wait, I'm a Browns fan. I've been watching this team for my whole life. Let's just put me in those shoes. I'm 40 years old. I've seen a lot of bad football. I've rooted for a lot of teams that have lost. But you know what? We've had guys that find it easy to root for. Nick Chubb, stud. Joe Thomas over the years, badass. Right? Now, Myles Garrett, baller. I want that guy on my squad. But I'm supposed to just like this guy? Obviously, no one in that city wants that guy on their team. They're stuck with him. Then he gets injured, which actually makes it worse because any of these potential, like, could we get rid of him and include some draft picks? that guy is yours. It is over. Career's a wrap. Like, this thing's done. But I just don't blame them for booing him. I don't think they're booing him. One, he wasn't going to die. Fucking tore his Achilles. He'll be fine. They're booing the situation. Do you know who they were really booing? The owner. That was an FU to the owner for making the fans watch a guy that every single person has the same opinion of, which isn't good from a character standpoint, who is one of the worst players. And this is a team who has watched crappy quarterbacks. They're not expecting Rodgers or Favre to come running out that tunnel for the Browns. But for $230 million, just a functional starter would have been great. And this guy was awful. Bad guy, worst player. And I just don't think it's very shocking. And anyone criticizing them, like, I just don't think any other player, any other person in the entire league, in any stadium, is getting booed in that situation, except him. Here's also what I think. I think you could put him in another stadium. I think he probably gets booed there too. I actually feel pretty confident he gets booed in any other stadium. So it's like, this is a Deshaun Watson thing, not a fan thing, not a city thing. And it's because of the owner. Because the only reason that he's on the team is because the owner was willing to give him that contract. When he pops his Achilles, obviously the season's over. I doubt we ever see him play another snap for the Browns. He absolutely, it was like the equivalent of the Lufthansa heist. Absolutely robbed the Browns. I mean, it's an all-time, it's highway robbery, right? It's just props to Mogetta, his agent, because they bent over the Browns and they took all the money. And they never thought twice about giving any of it back. No matter how many balls they threw to the other team, no matter how many balls skipped the grounds, no matter how many lawsuits came their way. It's all guaranteed, baby. Couple other quick things. It's crazy when Geno Smith plays well. When Geno Smith plays well, which he never does against the 49ers, but then he plays other teams like today, and you're just watching him make some throws. You're like, God, this guy, he's just all over the map. It's got to be a frustrating player to coach because they are so explosive on offense. Kenneth Walker is such a good multi-dimensional player. He's a great running back. He can catch the ball. I mean, DK, I think he's got to be one of the most unique freaks in the history of the NFL. The size, the speed, the power, the athleticism. He's just an all-time athletic outlier. And you watch him today. I know he got dinged up toward the end, but he made a catch in the middle of the game where he goes up, ahead of a DB. It's like, what a monster. And I think their coaching staff's really good. Now with the Niners losing, they're in first place, but it kind of just hit. If Geno plays well, their coaching staff's good, their talent's good, they can beat a lot of teams. And you leave that game going, is Atlanta any good? Is Atlanta any good? Listen, you lose some games. They got worked in that game. And you look back, it's earlier in the season, me and Stuckey talked about this on Thursday. Their record could easily be the other way right now. I mean, easily. So I still like some of the players on their team, and I'm not just selling all my Kirko Cousins stock, but they got worked today. And last but not least, it's got to be a good feeling as a GM to make a trade. And when you got a good team, it's just easier to be aggressive with trades. So it probably wasn't that difficult for Brandon Beane to trade for Amari, but it's still like, you hope it works, right? You want to look good. You want the guy to be productive. And then you get him and you look up and he scores a touchdown. And on the play, when you watch it in slow motion, he did not know what he was doing. He had to look at Keon Coleman. Coleman he tried to do like a sneaky little, like, run a post. DBs are standing right there. And it didn't even matter. Ran right to the goalpost. Touchdown, Josh Allen. Amari Cooper. So props to Brandon Beane. Props to the Bills. Make a trade. Media touchdown.